on the GC Living Tour, 12 months tour across the world. And today, actually, I'm very excited because I want to announce to you guys that we're nearly at 8 million video views. So this is reaching a lot of people around the globe. And I'm very excited about this conversation. This is the first interview from British Columbia. We're today in Vancouver Island, and I'm with White Eagle. Hello.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
This is wonderful. We're going to speak about drums. You have a big vision here for humanity. Yeah.
Yes.
It's the heartbeat.
It's the heartbeat. Grandmother Drum is a symbol of the heartbeat of all nations, the heartbeat of our ancestors, and the heartbeat that lives in everything. And at this point on Earth, you know, it's as we look around in the intense Earth changes and the intense political situations and stuff, you know, my feeling is that we have to come back to the heart. It's just plain and simple. And the drum only knows that language, so it's a very simple and direct communication, person to person, heart to heart. Yeah.
So it's an activation.
It is. It is a total activation.
That we forgot?
Well, you know, as we view ourselves as part of creation, you know, we've gotten to the point where we either look at it, looking down at nature, or looking up at nature, but not seeing ourselves as part of nature and part of creation. And so when we get that shift as real Indigenous people, that we are of the earth and from the earth, and that everything's our relatives, and it changes our whole perspective on how to create a world that really is the Garden of Eden. You know, the heaven on earth. And we're in that time where everything's getting shaken loose. And the grandmothers have really asked me to just hold that pulse beat. So as we journey through this portal, through the middle of this transformation, tribulation, purification, as the Hopis call it, that this cosmic tone of oneness would be heard, that we would get our focus back, we would get our tracking tools back, and that we would play with the song sheet of creation like every other part of nature does. You know, I keep saying the humans are the only ones not playing with the song sheet of the universe, the one song, you know. And the drum just has this uncanny way of just dropping us from the head to the heart, from logic to love, just like this. Everyone, the 5-year-old in all of us loves the drum. And to our Indigenous people, it's been the heartbeat of our people, the heartbeat of the land, the call of Mother Earth to wake us back up to sanity, and not to view people in other countries as collateral damage, but that they're our brothers and sisters, and that whatever we do to them, we're doing to us. So that circle that is so simple that we have just sort of gotten delusional about. And our message has just been to bring that pulse of love back to community and to plant the seeds of change through what we're calling Drum for Change.
Yeah.
Drum for Change.
So you're doing some initiatic journeys and teaching people how to drum so that you have people spread all around the world? I mean, tell us about this project.
Well, we started, over 10 years ago when the grandmothers inspired the building of a 7-foot drum, the largest drum of its kind. It's not with me here today. It's on its way to Peru for a 3-week program we're doing with the elders down there to work with the temple sites and some of the Indigenous people, and to link the Americas, because the prophecy of this time is twofold, and we're in the second stage of that prophecy, the unification of the North and the South, the eagle and the condor coming together to shed a tear. The healing of nations would begin. So our work has been to unite the Americas in this tour through a series of workshops and seminars and performances where we just bring the drum back to the people. In Alaska, our Athabasca Nation say, when the children bring the drum back to the villages, the cultures will be restored. And so we're building 3-foot drums to bring and to plant into communities to join with us on all solstices and equinoxes as we pray peace with the drum. And we know that when we say intention and then we add vibration to it, it only amplifies that intention. So that we would be unified to help with those earth changes and to call us together to align with these changes. And to see this as a great birth and not a great destruction. But that, you know, labor is somewhat intense for a woman giving birth. And we're going to a planetary birth. In which these changes are shaking and giving us those birth contractions to make those changes that have been necessary. The political systems, everything that isn't earth resonant is collapsing. And that is because we've gotten too far away from the rhythm of nature. And so the mother is calling us back, and whether she has to shake us loose. And the drum is just helping to center people in what's important.
So we get back into another rhythm, because we broke that rhythm, that natural rhythm.
And we broke a lot of the natural law.
Yeah, natural laws, yeah.
And so, you know, this to me is the truth teller. I call the grandmother drum the truth teller, because it's so powerful to activate the human energy field with power. I mean, when we want to get things in life done, we get a drum. You know, we listen to rock and roll to clean the house. So it's like one of those things, there's so much power in the drum.
Yeah.
And our vision with grandmother was not the drum that would announce that war is coming, but that the drum would announce the 1,000 years of peace has arrived. And that this pulse that gives people so much power to take action in their lives would use that power to create beauty and to be in alignment with a sustainable world, a spiritual, sustainable world community that cares for one another and the land and has all of the abundance in the world. We don't have to have any shortage by making our lives more in alignment. And we find that people are happier. You know, the drum just simplifies life and brings it down to the basics. You know, loving one another, loving the person across the street from you, dealing with the simple things in a new way. And the motto or the theme of the Drum for Change is a change of heart changes everything. You know, changes every perspective. And we have 4 chambers to our heart that we teach with the drum's work. Well, the medicine wheel is, of course, very, very well known to Indigenous people as the 4 directions, north, south, east, and west, or mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual, and how important it is to have those 4 areas of life balanced. And so we actually give that a chamber in the heart, known as the Red Road of the Heart to Native people of the Americas, and share those very simple directions. When we say 4 directions, we think, oh, it's pointing north, meaning I'm heading that way. But they're really instructions, 4 instructions, 4 directions of the 4 chambers of the heart. The east is called the strong heart, and that we have the courage to be who we are. And that seems like, what does that mean, you know, be who we are? But we all wear many, many masks to please others, to get attention, to get money, to get sex, and whatever. And we betray our real selves. So the strong heart is about the courage to be who we are. The weak heart, I don't have the courage to be who I am. It's all about standing for ourselves and taking a stand and showing up in life 100%. And so that's the teaching, and it's the teaching of the warrior in the East, which is someone who is not making an effort or holding back, someone who's not at the effect of other people, but is at cause, is the creator of one's own destiny. Our South teaching is about the soft heart and the open heart. And when the heart gets hard or closed, in our teachings, there's forgiveness work always to do to soften and open the heart. Because the heart only has one instruction or one purpose in the design of this vehicle that our spirit travels in. And the heart is always forgiving. It's the engine in our car. It's always forgiving. It's not for taking, it's not forsaking, it's forgiving. No matter what other people do to us, whether they like us or not, it doesn't matter. It's not about them. It's about us. And so that teaching that Christ gave on the cross, forgive them, they don't know what they're doing. You know, the last moment of truth, it was his ascension. So it's that moment we understand that the heart is always forgiving. And so that's the South teaching of the 4 chambers of the heart. And in the drum work, we strengthen the heart, we soften the heart in the South. In the West, we make it full. So many people are half-hearted about the job they're in, the relationship they're in their life. And when we just don't put our 100% full-hearted, 100% in the East, and full, meaning not a half-heart. If we're half-hearted, then we've outgrown the situation. We're in the wrong place. So that we can have people that aren't walking around on the planet hating their jobs, doing what they love every moment, you know, being what they love. And if we had just that, if everybody was just doing what they loved,
that would be a huge
you know, that's
change.
my idea of world peace. Say what you love. So that's our West teaching. And our North teaching is about the clear heart. and listening to guidance from spirit, from God, from meditation time, from our higher selves, however we view that, and acting on our guidance. So, we show up in the east, we pay attention to what has heart and keep the heart open in the south. And we are open in the west, but not attached to the form something has to take in our lives. We show up fully, and we are open to the mystery. And then in the north, we listen clearly to our guidance. So those 4 chambers of the heart are to us, when we have those 4 in resonance, then we can come into the center of the heart, which is the light heart. Be lighthearted, and our lives really work. It's the way when people say, oh, my life is magical or synchronistic, and that's when we follow the law. When we go against the law, we struggle. And as the Bible said, we will toil by our brow. We fall from grace, when we fall from that design that we were designed for. This is a vehicle. We were designed to use it in a certain way. And just bringing people back those 4 simple truths. Mm-hmm. And the drum bypasses even all these words that we're speaking right now. The drum just has a way of going in.
So what does it do actually? It quiets the mind, or puts you in a trance? It puts you in a place where the mind is not so active and the heart can open? Or?
Well, as we do the ceremonies, we lay people around the base of the 7-foot heartbeat, that is thundering the floor and the walls, and has over 200 clear and rose quartz crystal inside. Only drum in the world like it. It creates a sound that's a cross between a didgeridoo, a crystal bowl, and a drum. And it's the sound that we heard coming into this life. It's the first cell was formed around our mother's heartbeat. And so when we hear that sound, it's primordial. It's something that our minds can't even understand with our rational mind. It goes into our soul essence of when our spirit entered our mother. And so it has a way of connecting to all of our ancestors, our soul, if we have any soul fragments of ourselves from wounded times or traumas in our lives. There's something that the drum is such a soul healer that people will lay under this drum and they'll just come up weeping. I don't care what language, what country I'm in, they'll say the same thing, I'm home. And somehow all of the things that are wrong in the life or out of alignment suddenly have to be righted. There's this impetus to make change. And the power of playing it with 50 people, driving this force, and bringing people, of course, the wild man and wild woman comes out, and suddenly the freedom of expression and the freedom of our natural selves starts to be plain and simple before us. And we go, oh my God, how am I in this job? Or how am I doing this? Or why is my life out of alignment? And so we've had people making these sort of radical life changes after a week of being around, or even one time being around Grandmother Drum. And because I can't get in every country and every continent quick enough, we've been now building replicas of her in different parts of the world and teaching people to facilitate this work, which is quite simple. It's not about playing a specific rhythm, although we teach music and songs and dances and all that. It's really about returning ourselves to the pulse of life, to the harmony and rhythm of life, and being part of that, finding our own song. The elders say, in the medicine wheel teachings, if you come and you're depressed or you're sick or your life isn't right and you come to a therapist, they'll usually say, okay, so what happened in your past or your childhood or something like this. And indigenous people have a different way of seeing that. And they call that forth in those 4 elements, in the earth, air, fire, and water, the east, the south, the north, the west. And they call upon that and they'd say to you, so when did you stop singing? That would be your East question.
Yeah, wow, that's a good question right there. Yeah,
and
that's totally related to our childlike and our openness to just be ourselves and our self-expression.
And when we come back to that simplicity, when did you stop singing is in the East. When did you stop dancing is in the West. When did you stop sharing your story, in particular your life story? Talking circles, group therapy, ways that we share the human process of discovery. And then our time in silence, meditation, prayer, whatever we call that. Those 4 healing salves of being human. You're still alive if you can still say, what challenged me today, you know, in the East, what's, you know, touched me in the South, touched my heart today, you know, what, you know, inspired me today, the North, and what surprised me in the West, what surprised me. And at the end of the day, if I can answer those, then I have a pretty good tracking tool on my life as a life in balance, a life filled with joy and wonder. And we've become cynical. We've been leading our lives by the mind instead of by spirit.
And what do you think spirit wants here on this planet? What is our soul purpose? Do we have one soul purpose?
To bring beauty. We have 4, according to our teachings, just like the wheel. Love, worship, steward the garden that we're in, and bring harmony, rhythm, bring harmony to nature. Be part of the song.
So do you have gatherings that happen at the same time? So you guys are all beating at one place?
On all solstices and equinoxes. We have 360 cities in 60 countries now that are joining through different organizations. The Global Love Foundation out of Florida joins us. The Earth Dance, Harold Becker. The Earth Dance organization and their Prayer for Peace that goes globally on September 17th as part of the fall equinox. So we are doing that all over the world, and we've been given this instruction to bring more community drums. They're 3 foot in size, and we build them in the communities, we teach them how to use them, and then they bring their medicine and light up their grid. And we're working on specific sacred sites and ley line areas of the planet to help alight the grid and give the support to the mother and the people to go through this transformation with as much ease and grace, and to say yes to the transformation. We are moving now from the Homo sapien into the Homo luminous human, and this requires a completely different perspective on life.
Even a different body, would you say?
A different body. And so a lot of our teachings that come from these grandmothers that we've been working with, we call them the Heart of One teachings, and they talk about cleanses for the body, superfoods, feeding the body with light, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. We are fed. And our thoughts are food. Our emotions are food. And then, of course, our physical food. And how to put that into a new alignment for these times.
Do you do a lot of prana feeding? You feed yourself with light, don't you? Yeah. Raw foods? Yeah.
As much as possible. I think, you know, everything in balance. You know, our people, you know, we use the animals for all different purposes. They feed us, we feed them. You know, our lives become their grass, and their lives become our food. So, you know, the circle of life, it's all about how we go about that. You know, how we pray, how we give thanks for things that we're using, how we honor the people that are in our circle. How do we honor the water? You know, we have this global project that we've been working with the waters through Live H2O and Masuramoto, and we did that in 2009 and put a global drum wave into the planet's waters with the global prayer, which I'd love to share with all of you.
Especially since we're going to Japan to interview Dr. Emoto.
Oh, well, there we go. So he and Len Horowitz and I were part of the Live H2O launch in 2009, where we launched from the holy city of Jerusalem the drum wave into the planet's waters in 528 hertz, which is the frequency, the mid-range frequency of the solfeggio scale of music, which is what grandmother resonates at, her frequency with the crystals inside. And that's a perfect resonant tone for the rebuilding of DNA and the opening of the heart. So their vision was to put that into our waters, as our waters, of course, are our lifeblood. And that in the days ahead, our water is going to be the new gold. It's already more expensive than oil to buy. So we just have so much awareness to bring. And so we infused this prayer and created a CD with these global chants to the waters to raise funds for global water projects with the Blue Planet Run Foundation out of San Francisco. So this is a beautiful pledge that when we do prayer, you know, we have to remember that the essence of true prayer is gratitude.
Yeah.
That's the highest prayer, is whispering sweet nothings in the ear of God, you know. and telling you how beautiful you are and how radiant your eyes are right now. That's prayer, you know. So if we want more of something in creation, you know, people go, I want abundance, you know, I want more money. And then they focus on, I don't have much, I really don't have much money. And so they're constantly focusing on the shortage, and they want abundance, and that's not aligned.
Yeah.
But if we say we want abundance, and we're so grateful every moment, these beautiful flowers, your beautiful eyes, then I'm only going to get more of it. Yeah. So the prayer for the living waters was already visualizing that the waters are already pure. We already claim that they are.
Yeah.
And so as we do that, then everything resonates and comes into that frequency. The more we visualize it and affirm it as so. You know, instead of saying, oh, there's a shortage of water on the planet, and, you know, we can get into that story that we affirm the divine perfection at all times, whether we understand it in the given moment or not.
So it goes beyond just the visualization, and it's you're actually living it physically, don't you? Like the Indians used to do for the rain to come. They used to already dance and feel the rain, like if it was already there.
Exactly. And we are creators. So, you know, people say we're co-creators. Well, if there's co, there's still two. You know, when we come into oneness, we are the hands of God. We are.
Yeah.
So, you know, our word in the beginning is the word. What we say is the first step of manifestation. You know, our thoughts are one thing, and then as soon as we open our mouth, from the invisible world comes the first breath of manifestation. So what we're saying is affirming and creating more of anything we're saying. And then if we bring our vibration to it, our love to it, our charge to it, then it's only going to give it more power. So the Aboriginal people would say in the beginning is the dreaming, meaning all that is. And then there was the singing, meaning the voice, the word. And then there was the dancing. And that's how everything's created. The dancing means that's when we put it into action. It's our prayer to then walk the medicine and anchor it. You know, we can dream about doing many things in life, but you know those people that are big dreamers, but they're not manifesting it because they're not showing up for spirit and taking that action to bring it through this dimension. So all of those things being part of the prayer. So as we say this prayer for the living waters, you'll recognize the affirming nature of the prayer. You know. So the prayer for the living waters, and I bless all of the divine perfection happening in Japan that we yet to understand. I give thanks and praise to the divine living waters of grace and mercy, flowing through all streams, flowing through all rivers, flowing through all lakes, and flowing through all oceans, and flowing through me now. I give thanks and praise to the divine living waters of grace and mercy, purifying my mind and the mind of all creation, purifying my body and the body of all creation, purifying my heart and the heart of all creation. I am that I am, the divine living waters of grace and mercy. Oh. Amen. And so it is.
Beautiful.
And I found it just powerful when I was in Israel touring for the 3 months we were doing peace work there, and felt very humbled in a place of such tension normally, and the beautiful peace workers I met, and felt so humbled, like what do I have to bring them? And they told me that the word in Hebrew for mercy, which is what we use in Christianity as grace or divine grace, is rachamim, which means the womb of water. So when the heart is fully opened in that state of grace, as I was noticing in your eyes, tears just come because there's that profoundness of the beauty of life, and it just moves us where we can't speak. That is the mercy, the divine grace. And as we come into this time where so much is happening, and we pray strongly for the people of Japan as they're going through this tribulation themselves, is that on the human level, it feels like an absolute tragedy. And on a spiritual level, we don't know yet. We can't say, because maybe they'll wake up before us because they got pushed over the edge of their comfort zone. And when we have death or loss, it's when our heart can really be pierced open. The egg of our humanity that, it's black and it's white and it's rich and it's poor, and you're over there and I'm over there, suddenly gets pierced. And there's a possibility that we might open our eyes to something greater. So not that we wish that upon ourselves, but it is that friction that makes the pearl at times. And so we have to understand there's something greater we don't understand right now by these earth changes that's taking us that's pushing us up through the glass ceiling of what has not been working, that we've refused to stop. And so we're getting shaken and helped to make that change.
And there's gratitude to have for that.
Deep. It's not what happens, but what we get to become from what happens. And we either break down or we break through. That's my motto. We either break down or we break through. And sometimes we have to break down for a while before we break through. That's part of the healing. I look to all the great teachers of the world, Christ, Buddha, Mother Teresa, Gandhi. They were all broken. They were all broken open. The crucifixions that their lives went through to birth their enlightenment. So, and the grandparents have told us that only thing that gets crucified is our illusions, because there is no death. So we have that veil we have to penetrate to move on to our spiritual maturity. And
what was yours?
Oh, thank you for that question. The loss of some very dear friends. I lost a 31-year-old staff member in my tour in Australia in 2003, and I think that was one of my big breaks in life. My brother died within 8 weeks, and 3 other dear friends died within 5 months. So in 5 months, I lost 5 people, and but her death was particularly shattering for me, and I was in post-traumatic stress for a good period of time. I blamed myself. I, just thought it shouldn't have happened. I mistrusted all my guidance. I gave up. I thought this
Dark night of the soul.
Yeah, yeah. It went on for many nights, years.
Dark night of the soul.
Dark year of the soul. Dark 2 years of the soul, and I really doubted all of my work, my guidance, everything, and. But in that process, and I truly broke down. I was really shattered in many pieces, and many days was huddled in the corner of my house in a ball, And I had many wonderful people that held me through that time. But I began to come through that period of time realizing so many of those patterns that it broke open were things that I already carried in my soul, my own self-hatred. And I was going around Australia doing reconciliation work between the Aboriginal community and the white community, really strong work for 2 years in a row, preaching all about the forgiving, the unforgivable. And then I was thrown into it. And the unforgivable was myself. And that was a very, very strong taking of my own medicine. I was giving out and giving out. And Spirit said, you did such a good job, now we'll give you some of that medicine that you've been helping other people with. And that one seemed unshakable. I could forgive anything else, but that one seemed unshakable, unforgivable. And I feel that is the core wound of our planet, is our not feeling good enough or worthy of ourselves and our light. It's not our darkness that we're afraid of, So I had to walk that path, and it was a very difficult time for me, but it's made me who I am, and it's made me stronger and more clear as a spiritual being, because that was all illusion, and that was walking with me my whole life, and probably lifetimes. And so to face the music of that, and to transform it with self-love why I'm able to sit with others in that fire
Beautiful.
of purification. Yeah. So.
Beautiful. So if you have a last message for people watching right now, what would that be? You have many, but if there is one thing that your heart tells you to say right now.
For me, it's all about finding the answer that's profoundly surrounded and infused with our love. The answer to everything. It's our only tool left, I would say, in the Monopoly game. You know, is that forgiveness, that forgiving, is my favorite word. They broke it up into forgiving. You know, forgiving and forgiving. You know, it's like it's that simple. You know, and we give that to ourselves in all parts of life. You know, we give that love and commune through that love. And we'll find the answers to the environmental situations, and we can gather our forces together, that we are a family and we were placed here for a reason. And that this is our choice in this 4 years left, that many of the environmentalists and political analysts say we have 4 years to turn the tides of what we're doing on the planet, and that we have to consciously say yes to love.
Yeah,
you know,
not give in to fear.
Yeah, because that, you know, is our when we're born, we're awakened, we are enlightened when we're born, but we're not conscious of it. It takes the betrayals of life to then have to practice to love in spite of that. Everything else is illusionary. It's all just a video projection for us to see ourselves clearly. And when we see with the eyes of our divine selves, and then we see everything as it is. And that's, to me, the turn of the tide. But it's one person at a time. It's not saving the world. It's my own self. You know, I always tell people this is an incredibly selfish journey that I'm on, serving the world, because there's only one that we're serving. It's our own awakening.
Thank you. What a beautiful time. Thank you. White Eagle. And much love, my delicious co-creators. On the Juicy Living Tour from Vancouver Island, soon maybe in Alaska. You're from Alaska,
yes,
right?
yes, come.
That would be awesome.
Yes, we're starting a global sanctuary.
Oh,
yes.
good. So we'll check that out. Bye.